Good morning, beautiful people. How we doing today? Welcome to this gorgeous, if not somber, Thursday morning. It's nice and sunny here. Birds are singing. I was up at 5:30. My first meeting was at 7, and I just found out about 6 minutes ago that I'm going to be cussing somebody out today. Yeah. So hit the like button, share the live. Appreciate everybody for being here. It's wonderful to see you. Shout out to all the members and subscribers. Join us. We're inching our way towards 20,000. um, Shout out to all of the supporters and contributors to the Cat Treat Fund, to the Coffee Fund, to the Docket Fund. You are deeply, deeply appreciated. Thank you very much. Quick announcement, just so you are aware, we are having another live today, so it's going to be a twofer. This one will be, relatively short as lives go, but we're going to have a good old time later on, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the legacy of Euphoria because it has been 2 years. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to be gentle with you during this live. I can't promise the same for later on today, but this morning I'm going to be gentle with you. I want to just say a quick special thank you and shout out to everybody who has made a concerted effort to support the channel in whatever way that you do it. If you are liking and commenting on videos, if you're sharing content, if you are contributing to support the channel with, a donation, whatever it is that you're doing, you've made a tremendous difference this month. And I really just want to keep that progress going. We've recovered a lot of ground, and to look at the numbers on the last day of the month and to see where they are versus where they were a month ago is really incredible. And I can't thank you enough. Truly, deeply appreciate you and hope you keep it going. Because if you keep it going, then the channel will continue. And we came close, child. We came close to this probably being the last summer. So, and that happens. Channels come and go. Sometimes they just have a life cycle and they fade out. But your surge of energy and support suggests, that you wanted to stick around for a little while. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate you all. So yes, hit the like button. We don't have a fun topic this morning. So we're going to get through it. And, as one of the mods said earlier, be sensitive and respectful, be factual on the topic. Really don't care what you heard from another YouTube channel. Okay, that doesn't count as a reputable news source. I don't count as a reputable news source either. Okay. So just remember that the airlock button is polished and oiled daily, and you can catch it. So, yeah. And again, I look forward to seeing you all later today to commemorate the legacy of Euphoria. All right, so David's attorneys have asked for some preliminary hearings to establish what the evidence is in this case. I feel like the number 40 terabytes of evidence was tossed around at some point in time by the prosecution. David has requested a speedy trial in this case, where he is charged with murder in the first degree, amongst other things. You're welcome, beautiful. So I can't get criminal documents because I do believe you have to get them in person or send away for them in the mail or something. I couldn't get them online, but TMZ did. So TMZ did, and they made it so that it was available, the actual document, which I really appreciate them doing. And I think it's bullshit when they don't. I really wish that they would do that more. That would be super helpful for everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel the same way towards you all. You all pour a lot into this community. You are the community. I am but a conduit for the love and the fuckery. Thank you, beautiful. It's good to see you. So we're going to go through this document and then we're going to move on. Okay. The details are graphic. So if you don't want to know graphic details, catch us later, 6 p.m. Eastern. Those details will be graphic too, but we'll be talking about the autopsy of the boy. So it'll be graphic in a different way. This is tragically and gruesomely graphic information. And if it is any help to you whatsoever, when I am reading this kind of information, even though I'm reading graphic information, that's not the information that I'm looking for. And it's not the information that I'm focused on. Let's remember that this is all in context of basically probable cause, right? A detailed probable cause. What is the evidence that they have to charge him with the crimes that they have charged him with so far? When you are accused of a crime, you have the right to say, on what grounds? I want detail. And so this week, I believe starting yesterday, and hopefully concluding tomorrow, but it could go into next week, the prosecution has been, there's an evidentiary hearing going on, and the prosecution has been submitting information, and they submitted this document. Thank you, Tiffany Shante. Appreciate you. And much like yesterday's live, where we were talking about Drake's zine, this live will not be monetized because of the graphic nature of it. So I do appreciate your contributions here, your contributions on, shout out to everybody who hits up the Cash App and the Venmo. It's very much appreciated. Yeah. Okay, so the hearing is scheduled to begin tomorrow, and they've been filing things. The people submit the following brief to provide a roadmap for the evidence the people intend to introduce at the preliminary hearing scheduled to begin May 1, 2026. The dismembered body of 14-year-old Celeste R. was discovered in the front trunk of defendant's Tesla Model X on September 8, 2025. The vehicle had been towed 3 days prior from 1405 Bluebird Avenue, which was parked approximately 400 feet from defendant's home at 1368 Doheny Place in the Hollywood Hills. Surveillance video and other evidence confirm defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29, 2025, before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. So, according to this document, David is the one that moved the car. You want to talk about an ostrich approach. He moved the car and then got on a plane and went on tour. How do you function? How do you go on stage and perform shows? Rhetorical question. Thank you. How do you do that? On September 8, 2025, the manager of the tow yard where the Tesla had been impounded noted the strong smell of decay and the presence of flies coming from the vehicle. He notified Los Angeles Police Department, Hollywood auto detectives who determined the Tesla was registered to defendant through departmental resources. At the tow yard, LAPD detectives opened the Tesla's front storage compartment and observed a black cadaver bag covered in insects. Inside the bag, they discovered a severely decomposed head and torso. A plastic garbage bag beneath the black cadaver bag contained the dismembered arms and legs. However, the victim's ring and pinky finger on her left hand had been amputated and were not found in the Tesla. Ring and pinky fingers, not like a physical ring. Ring and pinky fingers on her left hand had been amputated and were not found in the Tesla. She was positively identified through dental records. Pursuant to the investigation, LAPD robbery homicide detectives determined the victim and defendant met in January 2022 when she was 11 years old. They began a sexual relationship in November 2023 when the victim was just 13 years old and defendant was 18. Detectives learned the victim had been reported missing to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department by her family, who lived in Lake Elsinore, in February and April 2024. They telephonically contacted defendant on February 17, 2024, after they identified a phone number in the victim's phone records that belonged to him. During the call, defendant claimed he had spoken to the victim last on February 13 or 14, 2024, but stated he was unaware she was a minor or that she had been reported missing. So, I mean, they knew he was lying right then because it's not possible that you spoke to her in the last week when her body has been decomposing for several. Detectives advised him that Los Angeles Sheriff's Department deputies would be coming to his home. On that day, defendant was living at, okay, detectives requested that LA detectives conduct a welfare check at defendant's home. They went to defendant's home that night, 8:15 p.m., and informed him the victim was a 13-year-old runaway. Defendant again claimed he was unaware she was a minor and he had only met the victim once in person in November 2023. However, defendant showed deputies a yearbook photo of the victim he had on his cell phone. Although he claimed to be unaware of where the victim was at the time, she returned home 2 days later. Despite being informed by law enforcement the victim was only 13, defendant continued to pursue her. Oh, this is back in 2024. Okay. Rewind. I was like, this makes no sense. Okay. So they made a jump. We're back. I'm going to stop and we're going to go back over some things. So they just jumped from the current case to the previous investigation that they were having about that the law enforcement had about the sexual relationship. Okay. Because I was like, wait a minute. This makes no sense. And that's why it makes no sense. We jumped and I didn't catch it. We jumped from the present into the past. Okay. So they began a relationship in November 2023. In February 2024, after they found his phone number in her phone, they called him. He said he had last spoken to her a couple days before. He was unaware that she was a minor or that she had been reported missing. They said, "We're coming to your home." They went to his home that night to conduct a welfare check and informed him that the victim was a 13-year-old runaway. David claimed he was unaware that she was a minor and said that he had only met her once in person the year prior. However, he showed them a yearbook photo that he had on his cell phone. Although he claimed to be unaware of where she was at the time, she returned home 2 days later. Okay? Are we caught up? Clear now? What is this? 1000%. Right from day one, he's lying. Despite being informed by law enforcement that the victim was only 13, defendant continued to pursue her. So this is what I said. This goes back to what I said when we talked about this. I think maybe the last time, which was that somebody asked if I thought his lyrics would come into play, and I said that I I had more confidence in the fact that it seems that what they're saying is they were already investigating him, which means they have pre-established evidence about the relationship prior to an investigation of murder. It's not the theory that they have come up with based on phone records and photos and Discord. They were investigating him for this. They made contact with him and told him to his face. He's on body cam being told to his face that she is a 13-year-old child. He's on body cam lying. Thank you for answering that question. So I was like, "No, it's not," and then scrolling and, "Yes, it is. Hello, Flashburnt." And hello, Freddie. Okay, thank you for clarifying. So that's massive evidence. When you wanna talk about motive, they told him to his face at the same location where he killed her. She is a child and a runaway. And, I mean, obviously, we're not done reading the document, but one of the other things that I said the last time we talked about this was she had to know about the investigation. She had to know, whether she learned about it from her parents or she learned about it from him. If not understanding that there was an investigation, at least understanding that the police had connected the 2 of them together. She may not have known there was a full-on investigation, but at that point, they both know that the police have connected them. We're not having that conversation today. It's too nuanced, and we've had it before, and it's a continuous conversation on this channel. So hopefully you're asking me a rhetorical question of, do I know, or does this channel or community know what it would mean to music? Beloved, we know. Okay. Despite being informed by law enforcement, the victim was only 13. Defendant continued to pursue her. After the victim returned home in February 2024, her parents took her cell phone away. Defendant drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student in the victim's class $1,000 to give the victim a cell phone defendant purchased so they could stay in contact. So this supports some of the community reporting and social media posts of people saying he had given a kid a large sum of money for something having to do with Celeste. And people dogging out this family, the parents took the cell phone away. He drove there and paid another kid $1,000, so a million. These are children. Paid a child the equivalent of $1,000,000. Said, "Give her this phone." Hmm. You're not a parent. Your kid tells you that they're going to school in the morning. They don't go there. School is underfunded and fucked up anyway, and the auto call system isn't reliable, and you don't get a notification that your kid isn't in school. Whose fault is that? Don't do that. Think. Just think. I know you apologized, and apology accepted, but you don't know. And if it's not within your frame of reference to be a runaway, then you're also not in a position to judge in that way. I had a kid who ran away repeatedly. They were doing things wrong. They were making choices outside of how they had been parented. But you know who else also clearly fucked up? Me. Complex, nuanced situation. Yeah, we're not gonna post that kind of thing here. Unless you're saying you were a firsthand witness to that. I mean, I couldn't even imagine today. I withheld cell phones from my kids for a long time. And when they first got cell phones, they got the child version where nobody can call you unless it's programmed. Their number's programmed. You can't call anybody unless the number's programmed, or 911 had a tracking device. That was like one of the main reasons why I wanted it. It's because it had GPS tracker. You can call me and I can call you. And it is, I actually think it is vitally important that children have phones in schools. I think it is vitally important because I've worked in schools. Vitally important for their safety that they have access to a phone. And anytime a teacher would try and take my child's phone, my ass was up there before the end of the school day, and that phone was back in their hands because you will not. And anytime they started to whiff around, do we want to pass a policy so kids can't have cell phone? My ass was front and center in line to lobby against it. No, the fuck you won't. I will sue. Schools are not safe. And there are things that happen in schools, and they will deny your child the right to a phone call because they don't have a right to a phone call. When a kid is like, "Oh, no, 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 I need to call my parent," and they're like, "Let's just go ahead and, da, da, da. No, 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 no. We'll just wait and just you need to calm down." Oh, no, no, no. My child is going to be able to reach me. Right. You can teach that discipline. You really can. You can have punishments and other things, but no, my child will have a phone. No, I'm not the one. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button, share the live. Okay. So he went there, paid a child, got a phone to her. Throughout 2024, the victim spent a significant amount of time with defendant, including summer weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family. How, how did she get to London? The police went to David's home in 2024 when Celeste was still alive and had been reported missing by her family and told him to his fucking face that she was a minor. She went back home. Her parents took her phone. He drove to her city, paid a kid $1,000 to give her a phone that he bought. Private planes don't just get to do whatever the fuck they want. You have to have a manifest. You have to have IDs. You have to have all of those things. You're supposed to have all of those things. She still needs a passport to go to London. London? I was thinking about this. Notarized. My children flew with other family members when they were little kids. They had to have their birth certificate. They had a copy of my identification. They had a notarized thing from me that I wrote out. And that was both for Disney World and Canada. We're focused on this and only this. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Abso-fucking-lutely not. The letter, technically, I guess, but I think the requirements only become more stringent, like, the older of a child you become. My kids were little. So I'm just like London is crazy. Thank you, beautiful. We don't know, but I do know that his family was fighting the subpoenas that they had gotten for the grand jury. And so it says they traveled to Las Vegas, London, and then he's from Texas. And so his family is in Texas. Took her to Texas to meet his family. You couldn't get that past me as a parent. You couldn't get that. You could not convince me that a 13-year-old is 18. You could not convince me. She could have had a passport already. Yes, she could have had a passport already. You would still need something from the family that is notarized. The family tried to cut off contact, according to this document. Mhm. The thing that's fascinating about him getting her a phone is did he put it on his phone plan? We're talking about evidence, right? So, obviously, we're getting caught up in the the how, of it all, but he brought her a phone. He didn't go get a prepaid phone. There's no reason to do that, that's silly. Did he put that phone on his phone plan? Thank you, beautiful. I'm happy to have you here. It's a rhetorical question. I'm just thinking about evidence that they can use. Thank you. We're focused on the conversation here. Yes, that's what we just said. Her parents took her phone. David went there, gave some other kid $1,000 and said, "Get this phone to Celeste." Yeah, because a lot of people have been saying, like, "Doesn't the Tesla automatically record?" And child, I'm not even gonna get into that, and I don't care if anybody else has. I care about evidence on the docket, but, also given the neighborhood, there's surveillance cameras everywhere. There's I had a camera in my car, and it would pick up other stuff happening around my car. So you've got other people's cars that probably have cameras, and then just people's security cameras, and then distinctly possible, his car was recording him. Ostrich strategy. He put a body in his car, parked it on the corner, and got on a plane. she ran away multiple times. So, which was my thought the last time we talked, was like, this sounds like a situation where she didn't just bounce one day and they were just like, "Oh, well, she's gone." It was a coming and going kind of situation. And quite frankly, it's only worse in the summer. I know we're not supposed to put tracking chips in children, but I really think it's something we should consider as a society. I know it's hella problematic and a total different conversation, but I said what I said. Put a chip in her. Yeah, I've wanted that technology since the first time I popped one out. Like, what can't we do something to make sure that we never lose track of this one? My God. And we've talked about this kind of generally before, is like when people think that they are destroying evidence of a crime, what they're actually doing is creating evidence that they are destroying evidence of a crime. Yes, yes, yes. Mhm. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. Okay. Child, I'm telling you, just a few more years. If I would have waited just a few more years, the circumstances would have changed enough that I would have been like, actually, I don't think I want to have kids. Yeah, my kids know. They lucky they here. Okay. Text exchange between the victim and defendant contain references to sex, pregnancy, abortion, and use of the Plan B emergency contraceptive. There are also explicit photographs documenting and corroborating their sexual relationship. In November 2024, defendant and the victim broke up, although they continued to communicate, and text messages suggest they also continued to have a sexual relationship. April 23, 2025 is the likely date of the victim's death and when all her cellular activity ceased. The night prior, April 22, 2025, defendant and the victim engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. The messages revealed the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationship with other women, as defendant led her to believe they had a future together. She became extremely upset and threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with defendant to end his career and destroy his life. Defendant's first studio album was due to be released on April 25th. So this conversation is happening over text 3 days before his album comes out. He had an emerging multi-million-dollar career already in progress. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. At approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23, defendant sent an Uber. Yep, that's pretty much what's happening right now. Just put a buffering GIF over my face. At approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23, 2025, defendant sent an Uber to transport the victim from her Lake Elsinore home, I hate that word, to his residence. They communicated before and during her Uber ride, which dropped her off at defendant's Hollywood Hills home around 10:10 p.m. At approximately 10:30 p.m., defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated plan to cover up the murder as she was already dead. Thank you. 8:40, he sent an Uber. 10:10, she got to his house. 10:30, he texted, "Where are you?" She's dead in his garage, if I recall. Knowing he had to silence the victim before she ruined his music career as she had threatened very soon after her arrival at his home, defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. That's what it says. He stabbed her multiple times and then he stood by while she bled out. At no time did he call law enforcement or 911 or take her to an emergency room to attempt to save her life. Despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. In fact, defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23, he drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone, asking where she was. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder. Defendant drove his Tesla north on the 101 freeway to San Marcos Pass Road near Lake Cachuma in Santa Barbara County. He returned home early the following morning on April 24 before going to a radio interview for the release of his album that week. He sent two additional texts to the victim's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. Oh, they're disgusted with him. After April 26, 2025, defendant never attempted to contact her again. Tellingly, defendant subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24, defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. On May 1, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered two chainsaws to his home. On May 5, defendant ordered a body bag from Amazon. Chat? Postmates, I saw. This is honestly appropriate. I'm sorry. This is this is unintentionally hilarious. You shouldn't be able to buy a body bag online without 2 screenings and an ID. Thanks, beautiful. I appreciate you. I cannot believe we had that conversation about there being body bags on Amazon when we found out that part of her was in a body bag. He really got that shit off of Amazon. He really got a body bag off of Amazon, bought 2 chainsaws, said, "Shit, I forgot. I need a body bag." Postmates a shovel. Where were you going to bury her? That's not your house. Here's the thing, and then we're gonna get back to this document, and if you missed this live, this is gonna sound really dramatic to you and, like, you might need to bookmark this for evidence in the future, but anyway, when David was arrested, we had a live, and I talked about the time that I had decided to kill somebody, and we had a whole conversation about it, so if you're like, "What? Who is she?" This is an aside, okay? I don't have time to go into the details. One of the things that I had decided was that I wasn't necessarily going to try and get away with it, because that's the hardest part, you know? I wasn't gonna bet all my chips on I could do it and get away with it. It was more of like I could do it and accept the consequences for doing it. Yeah, you can replay that live later. It was a very serious situation, and I was serious. It was something that I thought about for a very long time after somebody that I personally knew did a very horrible thing, and it, like, traumatized my brain, basically. Um, but that's how I kind of processed the whole thing, was like, the chances of getting away with it are slim to none, so just accept the fact that you'll probably go to prison for the rest of your life if you do this. Now, if my homegirl called me in a Goodbye Earl situation, I'm gonna be pretty confident that not only are we together going to kill that man, but we're definitely getting away with it. Really, this is the thing? This is the conversation that convinces you to become a member? Welcome to the membership level. My family has a history with the my family has a history, a marked history with the history of the chainsaw, and I'm not gonna get into any more detail. But yeah, like, on my own, taking out this person as a, community service to everybody else, probably gonna go to prison forever. A homegirl called me about an abusive man, we gonna live the rest of our lives in bliss, beloved. You are damn right. You are damn right. Okay. Anyway, that just popped into my head as we're listening to the unfolding what the fuck. And I'm like, couldn't be me, dog. Couldn't be me. Not gonna get into it. No, I'm gonna go ahead and rectify that that's the most likely outcome, because anything else is, like, psychologically crushing, I would think, that you decide you're gonna do something, and then you convince yourself that you can get away with it, and then you wind up in prison? That would be pretty psychologically crushing. No, no, no. I'm a little bit more of a realist than that. Okay. That's awesome. So he made these purchases under a fake name. What'd he pay with? He used the girl's name to make the purchases. What'd he pay with? Ugh, fucking just fucking plead guilty and die. That's how I feel. Okay. He went back to the same Santa Barbara County, leaving his home. This is a couple days later, around 11:30 p.m. Oh, he went several times. They found her identification in this Santa Barbara place that he kept going to. Oh, they got the burn cage. He put her body in an inflatable pool to prevent the blood from spilling into his garage. He used a chainsaw and perhaps other tools. Plastic fragments were found embedded in remains. That matched the pool. I thought this, but I didn't wanna say anything out loud because I wasn't sure if they were able to determine what happened. He intentionally cut her fingers off because of the tattoo. I thought that, but I didn't wanna say anything out loud. But yeah, that's where her tattoo was, and he had a matching one. They have not been recovered. Head and torso into the body bag, limbs into a garbage bag. For several weeks or possibly months, defendant left the victim's body to decompose inside his Tesla. He lied to his friends, business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle. Before leaving on his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home. You know what? Thank you for that correction. I don't know, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you heard it from another, non-news site, don't repeat who you heard it from. If you heard it from a reputable news site, like the Associated Press or local television. But you're right. You're right. Thank you. Yes, we got that a little bit earlier on in the document. He's the one who moved the car, and then he got on a plane and left. So he killed her, dismembered her, put her body in the trunk of the car, left her in the garage. And then lied to people who were like, "What's that smell?" I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Oh, beloved, you don't need to. I wasn't trying to give you homework. I was just trying to preempt, you know. Lipstick Alley said, "Child." I don't care what Lipstick Alley said, okay? I care what's on the docket. It was just a preemptive thing, but I'm not trying to give you homework, but thank you. And this is why I'm trying not to think about what it is that I'm reading. And I'm breathing out of my mouth right now because I know the smell of decay. And it is not something that you can reasonably ignore. Okay, good. All right. All right. We're on page 6 and 9. Let's get through this quickly. So September, after she was identified, September 2025, they serve a warrant. They found the pool? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm both horrified by the details and also infuriated by the what the fuck. They found the pool in the garage. He used an inflatable pool to try and contain the blood, which obviously probably didn't work because you have a chainsaw on a body in an inflatable pool? And then he kept the pool? Yes. Several biological samples which tested positive for blood were collected within the garage area. DNA analysis determined that various samples matched the victim's unique genetic profile. They said, "Oh, not just blood type, babe. That's her DNA." So that was September 17. December, the medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. January, I think this is a typo. Oh, wait. I feel like this could be a typo. because it says January 17, 2025, but I think it might be January 17, 2026. The victim's U.S. passport card was found by a Caltrans worker in Santa Barbara County. I'm guessing he did, beloved. I'm guessing he did. On the road, he kept going back to the same area in Santa Barbara to destroy or discard evidence. So they went there, law enforcement found her ID, and then a California transit worker found her passport off of State Route 154 in Santa Barbara County. But I guess it could have been 2025. I don't know. Anyway, the people will present the following evidence at the preliminary hearing, including but not limited to the description of photographs depicting the victim unclothed, as well as while she was engaged in intimate activity when she was 13. As this evidence constitutes CSAM, the photographs themselves will not be presented. While all possible charges that could be proven were not filed, the CSAM is proof of their ongoing relationship while the victim was 13 and 14. Text messages between the defendant and victim evidencing their physical relationship, pregnancy, abortion, and use of Plan B, emergency contraception. So there were some people who said, and this was right around the time where I was like, we're not talking about this on this channel, because there were people who were saying he killed her because she was pregnant. And remember, it seemed like dozens of people who were coming out of the Discord with screenshots, and everything was very fragmented. And I was like, we're done. Until we get charging documents, we're not talking about this anymore. It sounds like she may have been pregnant at one point in time. Joe Mama, don't be graphic, okay? Show some tact and respect. Nobody type it. Child, images of children of a physically intimate nature. I'm not gonna say what it is. I already can't monetize this live, so I'm not gonna say what it is, but I've just described to you what it is. Messages through March 2025 prove defendant continued to manipulate the victim as she messaged, quote, "All we do is have sex and just hang out. Man, I want more than that for myself," end quote. These messages were obtained from defendant's iCloud data. Defendant's cell activity and communications derived from defendant's iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate defendant's activities, including a trip to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night after the victim arrived at his Hollywood Hills home. Surveillance video of defendant driving his Tesla for the last time before parking the vehicle and leaving on tour at the end of July. DNA evidence developed from bloodstains collected from defendant's garage Proof of defendant's Amazon purchases and deliveries to his residence, including 2 chainsaws, a body bag, an inflatable pool, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a burn cage. Proof of defendant's purchase and delivery from Postmates of a shovel from Home Depot. Uber records showing defendant's transaction where he ordered an Uber to pick up the victim from her home and transport her to his residence the night of April 23rd. Proof of defendant's lucrative career as a singer and songwriter. Prior to this, the album release party the night of April 24th before embarking on an international tour in late July. Text message exchanges between defendant and victim, where the victim threatened to expose defendant and destroy his career. This brief is filed to assist the court in understanding the scope and relevance of evidence the prosecution intends to present at the preliminary hearing, which starts tomorrow. The prosecution has issued numerous subpoenas and is prepared to proceed with the preliminary hearing. The defense has had multiple opportunities to request a continuance, but has not done so. Furthermore, California Penal Code requires the defense to provide at least 2 court days' notice to request a continuance. In view of the limited scope of evidence to be presented at the preliminary hearing detailed in this brief, there should be no substantial impediment to moving forward with the hearing as scheduled. So the hearing starts tomorrow. It could be a day. It could be a week. I predict that the family sues Uber. Yeah, I predict that the family sues Uber for not clocking the fact that she could have been trafficked. All the signs are there. She's young. The car is sent from a great distance to pick her up. She is furiously texting the entire trip, like it ticks the boxes of the Uber training. It ticks the basic 101 introductory on how to identify trafficking and exploitation in the back of your car. In my opinion. That is in my opinion. It ticks boxes. That's not how Uber works per se. So no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's required um it's required by statute, local statute in a lot of places. And then just as a defensive insurance measure, Uber, Lyft, etc., provide that training. And pass a test. And pass a test. Yeah. So let me be very clear in saying that while I think it ticked a lot of boxes, I'm not saying that the Uber driver knowingly did anything wrong. Obviously, I agree with the comment that the driver did not have any idea what it was that they were transporting her to. Um, but no. Well, they, were fighting the subpoenas, so we don't know. Maybe at some point in time they'll do a sit down interview with Robin Roberts or some bullshit. No, what's her name? I like Robin Roberts. What's the other one? Gail. Yeah, that one. Maybe they'll do a sit down interview with Gail King and talk about what the fuck ever. I don't even care in defense of their child. But they were fighting the subpoenas. Thankfully, this is not something that I have to worry about with my son. He's not, he needs you to have a brain and be, at least be right here. But I said earlier in this live, ain't no way that you could be 16 and bring a young teenager around me and be like, "Oh, she's just my friend." I'd be like, "Actually, she's not." No, she's not. Is she gay? Then she's not your friend. No. They were for the investigative grand jury. Space Gale, that's the one. Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's different. That's different. I don't. I don't stop. I don't stop asking questions. If I'm not taking your child to a school, I'm not taking your child anywhere. Yeah. Thank you, Appalachian. Wow. That's accurate as well. Seriously. Seriously. And I was thinking this morning, um, I posted an article about this last night in the Discord, but I only skimmed it because I was like, I wonder if I can find the document, and I found it. So we're here talking about it. But I was thinking last night and this morning, like, just plead guilty. Because the jig is up now, right? The jig is up. Whatever bullshit you've been telling various people about this relationship, the jig is up with this evidentiary hearing that starts tomorrow. And you want to go to trial and have things get even more detailed and graphic? Have witnesses stand up and testify against you? That's what you want? You want to drag the family through that? Fuck you. Plead guilty and then die. That's how I feel. Those are my feelings. I'm just expressing my feelings. Mhm. Mhm. And that's when you're like, I can tune that out because I'm taking a kid to school. and kids gotta get to school. But if you're just, taking a kid to bumfuck to wherever, Imma have a question or 2, or Imma need to let Uber know, "I'm not quite sure what's going on in the back of my car. I'm sorry, no." And if you're like, "Absa drove rideshare?" "Yes, yes." And then I pleasantly, happily sold my car. Was like, "How much am I gonna make doing this? How much could I get for this car?" It wound up being quite a bit, actually. I was like, "Bye. Bye." Yeah, no. Yeah, of course they said that. That's their job. I don't give a shit. He did it. We're done. The end. Period. He did that and several other things that are against the law. Plead guilty. Go die in jail. Yeah, if it's my child, oh, I'm suing everybody. He did, we done. Yep. Just plead guilty. Save everybody the fucking trauma and trouble. This motherfucker killed her, went to an album release party. Killed her, went and tried to dispose of evidence, went to a radio interview, then went to an album release party. Did you take a shower? Not even close. I'm also suing News Nation because I just know they said the parents were terrible parents and didn't care and didn't do anything. And how could they let their child run amok? I might not be perfect, but you shut the fuck up about things you know nothing about. I don't know. You want everybody to know the lurid details of you being a child predator? Quite a few. There's plenty of Altoids in that container to go around. Plenty. No. I mean, I would imagine they did. They're fucking ass. I don't know. I mean, rhetorically speaking, sure. Sure, he could be Delulu. I mean, I think killing somebody, leaving their body in your garage for months, and then parking the vehicle on the corner before you hop a plane and thinking that's not going to become a problem is totally fucking delulu. The police have already been to your house a year before and told you to your face, this girl is a minor. You think that you can leave her body in your car. And then this motherfucker had the nerve to issue a public statement saying, I'm fully cooperating with police, blah, 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 blah. I would absolutely be telling my child to confess. Confess. Fully. I'm not about to go through this, and you're not about to put that family through this. I didn't do it. I don't believe you. I've told this before on this channel, but I told my son a long time ago. He was minor when I told him this. Young. um that if he was ever accused of intimate assault, we would have a problem. Him and me. Because the only thing that he would be able to say to me is, I've never slept with her. You can't come to me and say it was consensual, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, okay. Phew. It's much more complicated than that. It's not that I don't believe my child, it's that I know it's much more complicated than that. And we would have a problem. Unless you could say to me, "I never even slept with her." And they're like, "We don't have any DNA evidence, we have an accusation." Then I'd be like, "Oh, all right then." But if it was like, "Well, they had sex, he says it was consensual, she says it wasn't," I'm gonna be like, "What the fuck did you do? How did you wind up sleeping with somebody where after the fact, it was even a question of whether or not it was consensual?" We've had this conversation way too many times. Starting at, like, age appropriately, but, like, 10, 9, there can be no fucking question. I don't care. Enthusiastic consent for everybody. And this conversation is over. Take a deep breath. Roll your shoulders, stand up and stretch if you need to. Curl your spine. Shake it off. Breathe. Okay? We made it, chat. We made it. Yeah. Okay, so yes, I really am requiring us to switch it up, okay? I really am requiring us to switch it up before we leave here. That's why we've got a cute little fluffy baby here in a nice little cocoon of peace and happiness and cuddliness. Get some food, get something to drink, whatever it is that you need to do. I hope that I was able to do this. Thank you very much for the $10 contribution. I appreciate you. Little kitty with a little chocolate chip nose. But I have something else for you too. I promise this isn't a pump fake. I'm not about to traumatize you with some, undesirable titties. I really do want to show you one of the funniest things that I've seen on the internet in the last 2 days. Because I was like, this literally legitimately had me like, when you see something, you're just not prepared. And then you're suddenly like gasping for breath because you're laughing so hard. It's only like 15 seconds. So I'll play it like twice at least. But it's really cute and it's really funny. And I picked the music myself to accompany this. Okay. Nope. I'm not doing that to you. Like I said I'm gonna be gentle with y'all this live because of the main subject matter. So, first of all, gentle titties, gentle titties for this live to remind you. But no jump scare titties. No, we've only got good things for you. Okay. So yes, I just wanted to show you this because I was like, this shit is fucking hilarious. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna make myself go away so I can make this as big as possible. Did you see that he had a churro in his hand? He had a churro. The cow was like, all cool and chill, walking over, and then just all hell breaks loose. The cat is like, fuck your churro. I'm gonna go past you. They're on a fucking skyscraper. I'm pretty sure in China because you saw, dude. That is some efficient China coming to save your ass shit right there. But he had a churro in his hand. He's reaching out. Dude is strapped 6 ways to Sunday so he doesn't fall off the side of a fucking building. Oh my God, one more time. Okay. That cat is like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Why are you here? The churro, I didn't even notice like the first 18 times I watched it. And then I caught it and I thought, oh, this poor man. He really thought that cat was going to be like, oh, oh, a churro. First of all, that cat did not call you. That cat didn't call you for help. That cat was perfectly fine. You the one who strapped yourself to everything and came out here. I'm trying to have a moment of solitude. The fuck? Unhand me, commoner. Jesus, I can't get no peace around this motherfucker. Not at any point in time was that cat interested in that churro. He was literally just trying to figure out which way do I go. And the fact that the cat rushed the outside, oh my God. Oh my God. If he would have jumped over, dude, I would have fell out. I would have fell the fuck out because wow. But the cat rushed the outside. I said, oh, he's fuck your churro. Fuck your little get the fuck away from me. Oh, oh God. Yeah. The cat just kept going. Oh man, it's so incredible. I love it so much. One more time. One more time. What? He's got the back peats. The neck and the back peats. I haven't seen that one before, but okay, whatever works. Oh God. Why you ask me? Why you say fuck me for? How the fuck am I supposed to know? Shit. For real. You ain't never played Stray? Shit. City cats be on some bullshit, dog. Every time I see video of a cat loose in like a baseball stadium, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's a cat in the outfield. I'm like, you're in his fucking house. What are you talking about? I wonder where the cat came from. The cat lives there. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. I told you all about the I screen capped it off of TikTok. So I'm playing that from my computer. I told you all about the time that we adopted Princey. He flew the first time we met him. They put the shelter on lockdown the second we said that we wanted to see him. He had a sign that was like not up for adoption on his little cagey, and we were like, well, what gives? And they were like, behaviors kind of. We were like, oh, we would like to see him. They were like, okay, wait here, we'll be right back. They put that whole fucking shelter on lockdown, took us into a special room, closed everything, and then they were like, okay, we'll be right back with the cat. It's a kitten. What's the big deal? Came in, that baby was in a straitjacket. Burrito. It was in a straitjacket. They gave him to me. He was purring, so just a purring. Me and my son looked at each other like, we got a pretty good feeling about this one. My son was like, can I hold him? I was like, yeah. Went to hand him to my son, and then we were holding an empty blanket. He was just gone. Like, gone. And then we heard this weird noise up in the corner and turned around, and there's a cat. And there's a kitten flying over our heads. Oh my God. Yeah. They dove after him. Two grown people, tiny kitten, dove after him. And then we watched him fly back in the other direction. Oh man. They were very apologetic. It took them a couple minutes to wrangle Princey. They were very apologetic, and they were like, we'll put him back in the cage now. And we were like, we'll take him. Yeah, it's actually pretty frequent. It could have been a mixed use building, could have been there are some offices that have office cats, and then there are just city cats. They get into all kinds of shit. They get into all kinds of shit. This is this is hilarious. Thank you for the clarification. Miss Kitty fell off the balcony once. I was not home. Nobody was home. She fell off the balcony, and I was slated to be gone all night, coming back the next day. And I just like all of a sudden could not stop thinking about Miss Kitty. And eventually it bothered me so much that I went home. And I lived on the 3rd floor of an apartment building. And I walked up the stairs and she was just huddled, sitting on the doormat. As soon as I like, you come up high enough and you can see, I was like, "Oh, Miss Kitty, I knew it. I knew it." I knew something was wrong. She was a little muddy and cold and wet, but she had gone off the balcony and she was otherwise fine. But yeah, something in me knew that something was wrong. And it bothered me so much that I went home. And this is before like pet cams were the norm, where you could just turn on a camera in your house and check on your cat. No. Yeah, I just knew something was wrong. So yeah, she got all cleaned up. She got all the treatsies, and then, she basically looked like, that. And that's how we went to bed. I was just like, "Oh my god," and then I would just marvel, 'cause the sliding glass door was the only thing that was left open, and I don't know if she tried to go after a bird. That would be really surprising for her. She was really pretty chill and more of an observant cat than I wanna try and snatch you out of the sky, but hey, whatever coulda happened. A bird coulda scared her, I don't know. All I know is when I was home, she was in the house. When I came back, she was sitting on the front doormat. I was beside myself because we got Miss Kitty not long after my son died, and we got Princey not long after my dad died. So, that's one of my coping mechanisms, apparently. And I've seen plenty of reputable scientific documentaries on cats and how they fall and all of that kind of stuff, and cats have fallen off of skyscrapers and very tall apartment buildings and survived. So, they're fascinating little noodles. There's a little noodle over there. You might be able to see his little paw because he's sleeping where he's not supposed to be, and I'm too much of a wuss. Look at him. Look at him. On top of my couch pillow. Unconscious too. Doesn't he look comfortable? Little fucker. As soon as I saw him on top of there, I stopped. He gave me little baby mews. I was like, "You are not supposed to be on there. You know you are breaking a rule. Just little baby mews." Denting up my good new couch pillows. Badass little boy. Badass little boy. Little sweetie pie. But breaking a rule that I'm also choosing not to enforce at this time because look at him. He's so comfortable. Squashing the shit out of it. This is exactly why it's a rule. You don't care. And today I don't care either. So generous. So generous. Yes, this whole couch just for him. It is. It is his home. I do like for him to be comfortable in it. Little cute butt. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of the day. If you haven't gotten up yet to go stretch and eat and, shake it off, do that. A reminder, 6 Eastern today. Happy Euphoria Day. Yes, yes. So I look forward to that conversation very much. I've been thinking about it for a couple days now. Um, so yeah, we have that to look forward to. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful conversation. I'm interested in all of the things that you all are going to have to say. And I hope to come up with some words before then as well. So thank you all for getting through this live with me. We made it. And I will see you all very, very soon. Peace.